Success is often misunderstood. Many people assume it's the result of raw talent, a stroke of luck, or the advantage of having more resources than others. We look at those who have made it and say to ourselves, they were born gifted, they were in the right place at the right time, or they had more than I ever will. But success doesn't come down to these things as much as we believe. Talent is wasted without the ability to channel it. Luck disappears if you can't recognize it. Resources mean nothing if you don't know how to use them. The truth is there's a single foundational skill that underpins every form of success, no matter the field. The skill determines whether opportunities open up or close in front of you. It's the difference between an idea that changes the world and one that fades into obscurity. It's the reason some people rally others around their vision, while others are left struggling alone. This skill is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's not about working the hardest hours. It's not even about being the most creative. There are plenty of people who are intelligent, hardworking, and inventive who never rise to the level of influence or achievement they dream of. What they lack isn't the drive or the ideas. What they lack is the ability to transfer those ideas into the hearts and minds of others. Think about the people who inspire you most. The ones whose words stay with you long after they've spoken. The ones who can take something complex and make it feel simple. The ones who can describe a future so clearly you feel like you've already stepped into it. These people succeed not because they're extraordinary in every way, but because they've mastered the skill that allows them to make others believe, understand, and act. Success in life isn't about luck, because luck favors those who can recognize it and seize it. That seizing almost always requires communication. Persuading, asking, convincing, negotiating. Talent alone can't guarantee success, because talent hidden away or poorly expressed never reaches its potential. Even resources, as powerful as they are, can be wasted if you cannot inspire people to believe in your vision and align with your mission. This one skill is a multiplier. It doesn't replace talent, luck, or resources, but it amplifies all of them. Talent without communication is invisible. Luck without communication slips through your fingers. Resources without communication sit unused. But with communication, talent becomes valuable, luck becomes opportunity, and resources become fuel for impact. The foundational skill is about connection. It's about seeing the world through someone else's eyes and then shaping your message so it resonates with them, not just with you. It's not manipulation. It's not performance. It's the simple but powerful act of aligning what you know with what others feel and understand. When you do this, you unlock doors that once seemed impossible to push open. Every path to success, whether in business, relationships, leadership, or personal growth, is paved with this skill. It's the bridge between where you are now and where you want to go. And until it is mastered, talent, luck, and resources will always fall short. The single most important skill that determines whether someone rises or remains unseen is effective communication. At its core, communication is the ability to take what is in your mind and transfer it clearly, powerfully, and meaningfully into the minds of others. Without this skill, even the greatest ideas, the strongest visions, and the most valuable insights remain locked inside, unable to make an impact. With it, the simplest message can transform into a movement that changes lives. Effective communication is not about talking more, it's about making your words count. Some of the most powerful communicators don't speak with complexity, they speak with clarity. They know how to cut through noise and deliver a message that resonates. This clarity builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every form of success in business, in leadership, and in relationships. At the same time, communication is not just what you say, it's what others hear. Too often, people assume that delivering information is the same as communicating. But true communication means shaping your message so that it is received, understood, and remembered. It's about meeting people where they are, not expecting them to come to where you are. The best communicators understand that words alone are not enough. Tone, body language, timing, and empathy are all part of the package. They know that what is unsaid often speaks louder than what is said. They listen as much as they talk, creating space for others to feel valued and heard. In that listening, they find the insight that makes their message land even more deeply. When you look at the people who achieve extraordinary success, you'll notice that they are masters of communication. Leaders rally people to a cause. Entrepreneurs convince others to invest in a vision that doesn't yet exist. Innovators articulate possibilities in a way that sparks excitement instead of fear. None of these outcomes would be possible without the ability to communicate effectively. Communication also has the power to shape identity and perception. The way you present yourself, the words you choose, and the stories you tell all influence how others see you. In every conversation, you are not only exchanging information, but also building a reputation. Those who communicate with authenticity and confidence are remembered. Those who fail to do so are often overlooked, regardless of their capability. This skill is equally vital in overcoming challenges. Miscommunication is the root of countless conflicts, failed partnerships, and missed opportunities. Effective communication prevents these losses by creating alignment, clarifying expectations, and strengthening connections. In the face of difficulty, It is often not the smartest or strongest who prevail, but the ones who can navigate complexity through words that bring calm, direction, and hope. Ultimately, effective communication is the gateway to influence. And influence is the currency of success. It allows you to lead without force, to inspire without pressure, and to create progress without resistance. When mastered, it becomes the single skill that magnifies everything else you bring to the table. Communication is not just about speaking. Speaking is only one small piece of a much larger picture. True communication is about connection, the invisible thread that forms between two people when one feels seen and the other feels heard. Without that thread, words remain empty. Even if they sound impressive, with it even the simplest message carries weight and meaning. Connection happens when you step outside of yourself and enter the world of another person. It requires curiosity, empathy, and presence. People don't remember every word you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. The strongest communicators know this and focus less on performing and more on creating a genuine bond. When people feel connected, they open up, trust grows, and collaboration becomes natural. Listening is at the heart of this process. Most people listen only to reply. Great communicators listen to understand. Listening is not passive. It's active. It involves attention, silence, and the willingness to absorb someone else's perspective without rushing to insert your own. In that act of listening, you gather the insight you need to communicate in a way that resonates deeply. When you truly listen, people feel valued. They feel that their opinions matter and their experiences are acknowledged. This is where trust begins. Trust isn't built in grand moments, it's built in small interactions where people consistently feel understood. Once trust is present, communication stops being transactional and becomes transformational. Inspiring trust through communication doesn't mean having all the answers. It means being authentic, transparent, and consistent. People can sense when you're being genuine and when you're not. They may not always agree with what you say, but if they believe in your integrity, they will stand with you. This is why trust is the foundation of leadership, influence, and long-term success. Think about the difference between someone who talks to impress and someone who speaks to connect. The first may win attention for a moment, but the second earns loyalty for a lifetime. Connection and trust create a lasting impact that words alone can never achieve. People follow those they trust, not those who simply speak the loudest. Great communicators weave speaking, listening, and trust building into one seamless act. They don't dominate conversations, they invite participation. They don't just share their ideas, they make space for others to share theirs. They don't simply aim to be heard. They aim to build bridges that allow understanding to flow in both directions. At its essence, communication is about human connection. It's about creating a shared space where ideas, emotions, and perspectives meet. Speaking is only effective when it is anchored in listening, and listening is only powerful when it results in trust. When all three come together, communication becomes more than an exchange of words. It becomes a force that unites people and propels them forward. Those who master communication gain more than the ability to convey ideas, they gain influence. Influence is the power to shape thoughts, decisions, and actions without relying on authority or force. It allows individuals to move people toward a vision, persuade them to take action, or inspire them to believe in possibilities they hadn't considered before. Without influence, even the most brilliant ideas often remain dormant. Influence doesn't come from manipulation or coercion. It comes from credibility, authenticity, and the consistent ability to communicate with clarity and empathy. When people trust you, when they feel understood, they are naturally inclined to follow your lead. Influence is the bridge between what you want to achieve and what others are willing to support. Mastering communication gives you the tools to build this bridge. Every word, gesture, and interaction becomes an opportunity to strengthen your connection and earn trust. Through storytelling, listening, and persuasive dialogue, communicators create alignment between their vision and the values or desires of others. This alignment transforms potential resistance into collaboration. The people who have achieved extraordinary success often share a common trait: they influence others. CEOs inspire employees to embrace challenges. Entrepreneurs convince investors to bet on their ideas, and leaders rally communities around a cause. What sets them apart is not their resources or luck. It's their ability to communicate in a way that motivates action. Influence opens doors that talent or effort alone cannot. Opportunities often exist not because someone is the smartest or hardest working, but because they have cultivated relationships and the capacity to inspire others. Doors open when people believe in you, your vision, and your ability to deliver on promises. Communication is the key that unlocks these doors. Influence also multiplies your impact. When you can move one person, that influence can ripple outward to reach many. Leaders who master this skill create cultures, teams, and networks that drive collective success. It's not about controlling others, it's about amplifying ideas and creating momentum that extends far beyond a single individual. The ability to influence through communication is a form of leverage. It allows you to accomplish more with less friction, more quickly, and with greater alignment. You gain the power to turn challenges into opportunities because you can inspire collaboration, negotiate solutions, and foster understanding where conflict might otherwise arise. Ultimately, influence is the currency of success. It's the reason some people break through barriers while others remain stalled, despite equal talent and effort. Those who communicate effectively are the ones who create trust, shape perception, and open doors. Influence becomes not just an advantage, but a decisive factor in achieving meaningful and lasting success. History's greatest leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs didn't succeed solely because of their intelligence, vision, or hard work. They succeeded because they moved people with words. Words are more than tools for information. They are instruments of influence, persuasion, and inspiration. The ability to articulate a vision in a way that resonates with others has repeatedly determined who rises to prominence and who fades into obscurity. Consider leaders like Abraham Lincoln, who navigated a nation through civil war not only with strategy but with speeches that united and inspired. His words shaped public perception, motivated action, and instilled hope during a time of uncertainty. Without his ability to move people with language, his policies and decisions might never have found the support necessary to endure. Innovators also demonstrate this principle. Think of people like Steve Jobs, whose presentations didn't just describe products, they told a story, sparked imagination, and created desire. Jobs could make an audience feel as though they were not simply buying a device, but joining a movement, participating in a vision. His words translated ideas into emotion, and emotion drove action. Entrepreneurs throughout history have relied on communication to bring their visions to life. Funding, partnerships, and support often hang not on the strength of an idea alone, but on the entrepreneur's ability to explain it compellingly. A business concept, no matter how innovative, has little chance of success if the founder cannot inspire belief in others. Words are the bridge between possibility and reality. Even movements that changed entire societies were built on the power of speech. Think of speeches, manifestos, and writings that ignited revolutions or redefined cultural norms. Leaders who could move hearts with words created followers, supporters, and advocates. Their ability to communicate vision and values was the engine that propelled action on a massive scale. Words have the power to shape perception, evoke emotion, and create alignment. Leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs who master this skill can transform a group of individuals into a cohesive team working toward a shared goal. Without this ability, even the most compelling ideas struggle to gain traction. Success, in many cases, begins and ends with the ability to move people with words. History repeatedly shows that influence often outweighs resources or technical skill. Great leaders may not have had armies, capital, or cutting-edge technology at their disposal, but they knew how to rally people, mobilize effort, and generate momentum through communication. Their words became catalysts that multiplied their impact far beyond what they could achieve alone. Ultimately, the power to move people with words is a skill that transcends time, industry, and circumstance. Those who harness it can inspire loyalty, spark change, and drive innovation. Words can create movements, build empires, and leave legacies that endure far longer than any material achievement. Poor communication is one of the most underestimated obstacles to success. While we often focus on skills, knowledge, or resources, the inability to communicate clearly can undermine every effort we make. Misunderstandings arise when messages are unclear, assumptions go unchallenged, and intentions are misinterpreted. What could have been simple collaboration instead becomes frustration, confusion, or resentment. Conflict is another natural consequence of poor communication. When people fail to articulate their needs, concerns, or expectations effectively, tension builds. Small issues can escalate into larger disagreements, and relationships, both personal and professional, can fracture unnecessarily. Miscommunication often turns minor challenges into major roadblocks. Missed opportunities also stem from communication failures. Opportunities rarely announce themselves clearly. They require someone to understand, engage, and act. If your ability to convey your ideas, pitch a solution, or express your value is weak, you may never be seen as the right person at the right time. Doors that could have opened remain closed. Poor communication erodes trust. When people can't understand your intentions or sense inconsistency in your words, skepticism grows. Trust is fragile and difficult to rebuild once broken. Without trust, collaboration falters, teams underperform, and progress slows. Even the most brilliant plans can fail if they are not communicated effectively. Ineffective communication also wastes time and energy. Clarifying misunderstandings, correcting errors, and managing conflicts caused by unclear messages consumes resources that could have been directed toward growth and innovation. The cost of poor communication is not just relational, it's operational and strategic. The effects extend beyond the individual. Organizations, communities, and networks suffer when communication breaks down. Teams cannot coordinate, ideas fail to spread, and initiatives stall. Poor communication can be a silent killer of progress, quietly undermining potential at every level. In some cases, poor communication can even harm reputations. Misrepresented intentions, unclear messaging, or public misunderstandings can damage credibility and reduce influence. Once perception is lost, it can take years to rebuild, and opportunities that rely on reputation may disappear entirely. Finally, poor communication prevents learning and growth. Feedback that is unclear or misinterpreted can hinder development, leaving people stuck in patterns of ineffective behavior. Without the ability to communicate constructively, both teaching and learning become difficult. limiting potential and stifling progress. Great communication is built on three essential pillars: clarity, empathy, and the ability to make others feel understood. Each of these components reinforces the other, creating a powerful foundation for influence and connection. Without clarity, your message can become muddled and ineffective. Without empathy, your words may fall flat or even alienate your audience. Without the capacity to make others feel understood, no real connection or trust can form. Clarity is the first step in effective communication. It means stripping away unnecessary complexity and focusing on what truly matters. When your ideas are clear, people can grasp them quickly and act upon them. Clarity prevents confusion, reduces misunderstandings, and allows your message to cut through the noise. A clear message is not just heard, it is internalized. Empathy is the second pillar. Communication is not a one-way street, it's a bridge between minds and hearts. Empathy allows you to step into someone else's shoes, to understand their perspective, and to tailor your message so it resonates. When people feel that you genuinely understand their experiences, concerns, and motivations, your words gain weight and credibility. Making others feel understood is the natural outcome of clarity and empathy working together. It goes beyond simply listening. It's about demonstrating that you grasp their viewpoint and emotions. When people feel seen and heard, trust grows. That trust becomes the foundation for influence, collaboration, and long-lasting relationships. Without clarity, empathy, and understanding, communication can be misinterpreted or ignored. Words may be technically correct, but they fail to inspire, persuade, or connect. People may leave conversations uncertain, frustrated, or disengaged. Mastering these three elements ensures that your message reaches the heart as well as the mind. Clarity, empathy, and understanding also enhance problem solving. When people feel understood and messages are delivered clearly, conflicts are easier to navigate, ideas are more effectively shared, and collaboration becomes smoother. Teams and relationships thrive when everyone knows they are being heard and that their input matters. These three elements are not only critical in professional settings, they are essential in personal life as well. Families, friendships, and partnerships rely on the same principles. Miscommunication can fracture bonds, while clear, empathetic communication strengthens them. When people feel understood, connection deepens and cooperation becomes natural. Mastering communication through clarity, empathy, and understanding transforms interactions from mere exchanges of information into meaningful connections. It allows your ideas to resonate, your vision to inspire, and your relationships to flourish. When others feel truly understood, doors open, opportunities grow, and influence becomes a natural outcome. If you can master this one skill, effective communication, everything else in life becomes easier. Leadership, business, relationships, and personal growth all rely on the ability to convey ideas, inspire action, and connect with others. Without this skill, even talent, intelligence, and hard work can fall short. With it, every interaction becomes an opportunity to create impact and open doors that might otherwise remain closed. In leadership, communication is the bridge between vision and execution. A leader may have the clearest strategy, but if they cannot articulate it in a way that motivates and aligns their team, the strategy remains ineffective. Leaders who communicate well build trust, foster collaboration, and create an environment where people willingly contribute their best efforts towards shared goals. In business, communication shapes every interaction, whether it's negotiating deals, pitching ideas, or motivating employees. Entrepreneurs and executives who master this skill can turn concepts into opportunities and challenges into solutions. Investors, partners, and clients are drawn not only to ideas, but to the clarity, confidence, and authenticity with which those ideas are expressed. Relationships, both personal and professional, thrive on understanding and connection. Effective communication allows conflicts to be resolved constructively, expectations to be clarified, and emotional bonds to deepen. When people feel heard and understood, trust grows, cooperation becomes easier, and shared goals are achieved more smoothly. Communication also accelerates personal growth. Feedback is only valuable if it is understood and acted upon. Networking is only effective if connections are meaningful. Learning is amplified when ideas are shared and discussed with clarity. By mastering communication, you create an environment where continuous improvement and growth happen naturally. Opportunities that might seem out of reach are often unlocked through communication. Being able to express your value, your vision, or your potential allows others to see possibilities they might not have recognized. Doors open when people are inspired to act on your words, when they believe in your intentions, and when they trust your capability. This skill reduces friction in every area of life. Misunderstandings, misalignment, and conflict are minimized because you can convey intentions clearly, listen actively, and build trust. Teams function better, relationships are stronger, and decisions are made more efficiently. The energy that would have been wasted on confusion and frustration is instead directed toward achievement and progress. Mastering communication creates leverage that magnifies all other skills and resources you possess. Talent, knowledge, and effort are all enhanced when paired with the ability to influence, inspire, and connect. Life becomes not just more manageable, but more fulfilling, as the connections you form and the doors you open create pathways to success that were previously inaccessible.